So you just went to a street corner, you pitched your mic and you started singing a song, and people gathered, you spoke to them. Hundreds and hundreds of such meetings and years of actually sitting on the street brought the RTI in Rajasthan, but Rajasthan had a link with the National Campaign for People's Right to Information, which was born in 1996. So it became a dialectic between what we did on the street and the entire state of Rajasthan, and what happened with the right to information legislation in Delhi and the demand that the Press Council, the Press Institute of India, Kuldeep Nayyar, Nikhil Chakravarti, Ajit Bhattacharjee, Prabhash Joshi became four huge giants from the journalistic world who joined the campaign. And then the newspaper editors of all the mainstream newspapers in the metropolis and the journalist organizations signed up with us. So in the 40 days that we sat on a sit-down strike, which we call Dharna in Hindi, in Dyawar, we had 400 organizations sign up, and all the two major journalistic organizations in Rajasthan also signed up with us. So while they fought for it with us, they also reported on us, and we got extraordinary public support. But that is because we put the information in the public domain. And that is important for truth, it's important for governance, it's important for mobilization, it's important for you, me and everybody else. So from being a poor peasants and workers mobilization in 1994, 95, 1996, it became a big civil liberty plus human rights demand in 1996. All kinds of people joined us. I'll give you two very small anecdotes. We exist on public donation and charity for all public action. We don't take money from institutions, as you know. So we went there with a very small budget and we sat there. The first day we were 1,500 people. The entire city of Dyawar, we sat in the city's marketplace. We didn't go and sit outside a government office. We sat in the marketplace because we wanted to communicate with people. Outside the government office, after 5 o'clock, there's silence and there's no one. In the middle of the marketplace, we went and just pitched our tent and we sat there. So the market watched us with great trepidation. But before the 6th day was out, we got cut chai at cut rate. We got, it was May, April and May, very hot in Rajasthan. We got free water supply because water has to be purchased. Free videography. Much of the videos have been taken by people who offered to come and video everything. We got free vegetables from the mandi. We ate better vegetables than we ate at home. And from 300 households and 300 villages around this place, they asked for 4 days' time and 1 or up to 3 kilos of any grain they eat. So they brought the wheat or the bajra or the jowar, whatever we eat. We used to clean this in the tent and we used to cook on the side in very simple surroundings. So one baniya, what we call baniya in Rajasthani, a merchant who is always against such movements, he saw us and he said, my place is empty, where I'm supposed to build a shop. Why don't you come and cook your food there? And he even gave us fuel wood. So it made us understand that in normal circumstances, the entire town would be against us. They would think it's a workers' issue. The town people would feel it's on the other side, it's got nothing to do with us. The right to information managed to touch everybody. And we collected 86,000 rupees in cash, including 2 rupees every day from a young boy who used to work in the morning and study in the evening. He gave us, now he's a strapping young man, he gave us 2 rupees every day. The person who swept our floor when we slept and lived there, he used to give us 10 rupees every day. Even police constables gave us money, told us, Hamara naam mic pe mat bolna. Don't announce our names on the mic. But hamari bhi yahi halat hai. Our condition is the same. Election was going on, national elections at that time. We were the center, epicenter of world political discussion. Not the campaign, people who came to campaign for votes. They said, this is genuine democracy, that is not. So it led us into a very big campaign. Today RTI has got somewhat in the public domain, and partly because of media, narrowed into its lowest common denominator of functionalities. The commission who applies for information, forgetting that in Gujarat today, large numbers of victims of the genocide have used right to information to gain dignity. They have applied to the same police station which violated killed them and violated their modesty and raped them. They go there today with the right to information application. The Thanedar says, please sit down, and offers them a cup of tea. So what it has done in the nature of relationships between citizens and power, and how it has tilted the power relationship, is something that is seldom written about. And I think that is the fundamental contribution of the right to information, that it has made us all MLAs and MPs. We all have the power to demand answers, and that is a very, very important thing. Now in this public audit, you have seen how information is sought. Today we are trying to get this kind of information for SEZ. What is an SEZ? A special economic zone is now an act of parliament. In 2005, the same parliament that passed the Right to Information law passed an act called the SEZ Act. In the SEZ Act, which was not debated in parliament, you would be surprised. The Right to Information and the National Rural Employment Guarantee Act were both placed before standing committees. Do you know what standing committees are? Parliament creates standing committees so that we can all go and depose. Anybody who wants to say something can go and depose and say, we want to know something about what is happening, we have a point of view. We can go there and our testimonies are recorded and put into print. They are sent back to you and me for verification. And we stand by as important pillars of democratic processes. So the SEZ Act was passed in an appalling manner, and those of us who keep monitoring Parliament, even we did not understand the passing of this law. And when this law was passed, this is our home. And when this law was passed, we were shocked when we came to know about it. What does it do essentially? It denies you a right to citizenship within the SEZ area. There are no laws that apply, labor laws don't apply, tax laws don't apply, elections don't take place, and there are all kinds of special waivers, tax waivers, this and that and so on. I'm not absolutely correct ever when I quote figures, but I think when I read the papers, I think 17,000 crores has been lost to the exchequer because of waivers to SEZ on taxes. What a question we should all ask, and just diverting, digressing, is when we talk about the SEZ, as to how much have you gained for India in exports, in terms of foreign exchange. This is why there was this SEZ, 25% of the land of the SEZ is to be devoted for production, for export. 75% is for what the owner of the SEZ wants to do with it. So many of the SEZs have become land estate development ventures, where you get land at very cheap prices from the most vulnerable in society. Snatch away from them their livelihood in their land, and you create villas and swimming pools and special clubs and what have you for rich people who can afford it anyway. There was another provision that government was acquiring this land. I don't know how many of you remember a little bit about history, but in UP, the late Prime Minister of India, Mr. V.P. Singh, went in when he was critically ill with cancer, with diabetes, with many other problems, and physically dug and occupied agricultural land, defined Reliance and many other industries which had been given agricultural land for SEZ in Ghaziabad district. So it has been a voice which has been raised by all sorts of people. It's not only activists who have raised this voice. And you say this is the movement people who don't want it, they're anti-development, they're anti the country, and people like you sit on the fence because you don't really know. You don't know whether it's true or not. Maybe your gut says maybe there's something to be said for it. But your mind says, no, these people may also be going around because they have these ideas, and maybe, we need to grow. If we don't grow, how can we compete with China? Or how can, all our luxury items come into India? How can the gold reserves grow up? Or whatever questions you might have. We decided to apply the public audit process to the SEZ. So what we are now doing, because there is a woman called Preeti Sampath, who used to work with the NKSS, but now is doing her PhD in New York on SEZs and other land related issues. So she came to India about a year ago, and she said to me that I would like a series of public audits of the SEZ so that we take our information into the public domain and get people convinced who are still sitting on the fence about the issues that are not right with SEZ.